Thanks a lot for coming in.
Good morning. Happy to be here.
Something about this community appeals to you?
This is a wonderful place to live.
For Kelowna Now, this is Camp Mulgat.
And we're joined by Steve Thomson, the MLA for Kelowna Mission. Thanks for coming in.
Happy to be here. Thanks.
And great to talk to you on the heels of your recent public statement that you won't be seeking re-election in October of 2021.
Yeah. Very tough decision. Obviously something to think about for a long time, but I think for me it was the right decision in my heart and the right decision timing-wise to indicate my intentions. You know, it's very clear that I'm not retiring at this point. This is a future intention.
Right. And this is something you want to clarify. A lot of people hear that and they think, that you're done.
Yeah.
But you have 18 months left.
Up to 18 months. The next set provincial election is in October of 2021. It could happen earlier. Scenarios could develop where we might be going to the polls earlier than that. But what I wanted to do was indicate my intention that I'm not going to seek a fourth term as the MLA for Kelowna Mission, and I wanted to make sure that there was a way paved for the constituents and the members of the party in Kelowna Mission to select who they want to be their next representative for the region. I wanted that to be managed in a way and not done in a rush. And I think it was important to get that information out very clearly. I will going to continue, and I've said continue to work hard as the MLA for whatever amount of time that is, and then continue to work hard for the community and the riding even beyond the election in whatever way it works out is best.
So making that known early is the best favor you can do to your party so as not to be rushed into a nomination.
Yeah, I think that's my view in the process. I think it's important I know I know there will be very good qualified individuals come forward in the process when the party decides to formally initiate that process, which will be a little while before they do that. This is not immediate, but I look forward to seeing who comes forward, and I'm confident that this riding will continue to be represented by some very very qualified person.
Right, and you were saying prior to the interview that you have an idea of who some of those people are, so you can say with some confidence that the selection will be from some qualified people.
Yeah, certainly. I think so for sure. People have approached me and have expressed interest, and one of the reasons I wanted to make the decision and get it out publicly was because I wasn't comfortable continuing to be evasive. People were asking me, what are your intentions? Are you going to? Aren't you going to?
You're not the evasive kind of guy.
Yeah, and sort of and having to say, well, stay tuned, or I'm thinking about it, or I'm not sure, or that's kind of thing. It just wasn't my nature, and knowing in my own heart that was the decision I was going to ultimately make.
How long have you known? Really?
I think I've known it for a while. It's as you know, I had a health event, and that gives you time to reflect and sit back, and it puts a little different perspective on. I'm getting to the point in my life where there's other things I'd like to do. I've also need to think about family, and the family has sacrificed a lot for the which will be close to 12 or 13 years that I will have been in this role, and there's some things we'd like to do. So the time was just right to make it, and I wanted to make sure that I got that out there early enough that processes could work properly.
It's almost a cliche to say to spend more time with my family, because sometimes they don't really mean it when they say that, but in this case, it's for real.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. They're definitely. I don't think people appreciate or understand the amount that your family sacrifices to allow us to do this job, whether it's whatever MLA and from whatever part of the province. It is a full-on commitment, and your families do give up a lot to allow you to do this, and so I'm at the point where I have to give some time back to my family.
Right. Retiring is always tough. You see it when sports figures retire, and they make the logical decision to do it, and then they step up to the mic, and then the tears come, because it's tough to close a door on an important part of your life.
Yeah, it is. It was a tough decision. I love the job. It's been a privilege and an honor to represent the community and the riding. It's a kind of job that you learn something new every day in the job. You go in with some expectations and you get the job, and the expectation, what it's actually like, is quite a bit different than the expectations you go in with. But it's all about the people, the relationships you build in it, and so it was an emotional moment, and it was, tears didn't flow fully when I made the announcement, but there was I was choking up a little bit because it's I did the announcement with my friends, with my colleagues, and with family that have supported me all along since I first decided to do this. I wanted them to have be first to hear the news, and advise them of the decision, and because I needed to share it with them.
So you said that you truly love the job.
Yeah.
In this age of social media, nasty comments fly around. I caution you not to read the comment section under the Facebook posting of this, because of what you sometimes see. Yeah. But did any of that ever, get to you and really kind of hurt you to the core?
No, I don't think so. Certainly, in this position, you make difficult decisions, and you always know in many decisions you make, especially when you're in government and have the responsibility for major files, and being the Minister of Forest, Lands and Natural Resource Operations, particularly, you're dealing with files where there is a broad range of views and opinions.
And some very firmly held views.
And particularly when you're dealing with things around the land base, and you've got people who want to do certain things on the land base, you've got people who don't want to do anything on that land base, and somewhere in between, and you're trying to find that balance.
You've got to make decisions where that almost half the people are going to hate you for it in that moment.
Yeah, or be very upset with your decisions and things like that. So that happened. But I think what I always prided myself in doing in the job was making sure that whatever decision I made was fully informed decisions. I didn't make snap decisions. I made sure that I, understood the files, engaged with the stakeholders, listened, and then made an evidence-based, informed decision, one way or the other, but I always felt comfortable with my decisions because I had taken the time to make sure that I understood them, and then made what I thought was the best decision in the public interest.
Right.
And so I could live with that. And then when the negative reactions came, I was comfortable that I'd made right decisions and could defend them.
Right. One thing you got to enjoy, elected 3 times, and you probably didn't get a sweat up in any of those elections. I mean, I look back at the numbers, and it's really, the elections are kind of a breeze. But were there low points or high points looking back on the decade?
For sure, some real high points, in particularly when you have the responsibilities that you have within government. But I'll just, as an example, probably my legacy piece, and the one that I'm the proudest of, was being the minister who got the final agreements and decisions made and everything to allow the implementation of the Great Bear Rainforest Agreement. Did all the First Nations negotiations around that great area of our coast that allowed that agreement to be brought into legislation, and put the ecosystem-based management in for the protection of the coast, recognizing all those values, continuing to allow some economic activity for forestry and other resource activities in that area. And that was just that was a really proud moment to be, other ministers had done some groundwork on it, but to be there and table the legislation and stand with industry and environmental organizations and First Nations and announce the agreement was a really proud moment.
And there was a lot of consensus there, but was that one that also had some people? I mean, by creating that, you're also telling people you can't do this and you can't do that.
Sure, it was a long, I forget how many years it went. It was in the making before the final agreement came to play, but it was there were strong views on sides, but I think in that area we found the balance, and the fact that in the end all the interests and all the stakeholders and all the parties, First Nations, environmental organizations, major resource companies, were able to stand together on the stage and announce the agreement, and everybody was happy with it.
Right.
And,
okay. So now you've given this riding 18 months likely to find a nominee. Will you likely endorse
No, not likely. I think well, particularly at this point of not knowing who's going to come forward for sure and things, but I think this is a decision that's to be made by the members of the party and the people who support individuals who will come forward. It's not one that should be influenced by a person who is stepping out of the role, but I will also be there to work with whoever comes forward in the process, provide the advice that I can that will be helpful to all candidates that are seeking it, based on my experience of having gone through that process back in 2008, 2009 to seek the nomination, and then work with whoever comes through that process as to ensure that this riding continues to get represented by a BC Liberal Party member. And
would you likely maybe be active in a campaign?
I certainly will do what I can to help ensure that whoever it is successful.
Right. Yeah. And to me, that it almost goes without saying that they will be elected. So now let's say we have another Liberal MLA. Would you see yourself being at the end of the phone if there's a question?
Always, yeah. Always happy to provide perspective and advice given the years of experience, if it's asked for. I don't think I'll be in telling somebody what they should be doing, but if certainly if whoever it is, he or she is, wants some advice or perspective, we'll be happy to provide it. And I also know that I will want to continue to provide commitment to this community going past the election in some way. This is a great community to live in, a great community to represent, and I think there will be lots of opportunities to continue to contribute to the community in some way beyond being an MLA post.
So you'll be active in this community?
I hope so. Yeah, that's the plan. I'm not sure what that'll be. I don't have any specific plans, but I think that obviously that you expect there may be some opportunities come forward. There's lots of volunteer opportunities in this community where people are looking for people to commit. So whatever opportunities. Initially, we love to travel. My wife and I love to travel, so there'll be some bucket list travel that needs to get out of the way and things like that. But just want to continue. I've always loved this community and want to continue to contribute in whatever way I can.
Well, terrific. Thanks for your decade of service.
And thanks
thank
for
you.
Thanks for having me in this morning. Appreciate it.
And thank you for watching Kelowna Now.